Hi, my name is TechDave, and today we're looking at why I think you should buy the Lenovo ThinkPad X220 in 2024. So, today we're looking at the Lenovo ThinkPad X220. It's a 2011 machine, and I'll run through some specs and other stuff in moving forward in the video. But I just wanted to say, unbelievable thanks. So I'm over 1,400 subscribers. I've just been monetized, meaning that now I'm going to get some sort of revenue per 1,000 views. So that is sick. Thank every single one of you for doing that. But please continue to like, subscribe, and share the videos and anyone that might find it interesting, because now it's vaguely viable that I can continue doing this. These devices cost money, and I've got a lot of them, and I need to keep a high turnover of them coming to be able to create videos for you to watch. So thank you again. Please like, subscribe, and continue sharing these videos. So today we're going to be looking at the features, some performance, and how I'm using my X220 in 2024. So let's move to a different camera angle and start diving into a bit of information about that. So here we are. This is the basic device. Look at that keyboard for starters. Oh, they'll tell tales in times immemorial about this keyboard, I tell you. Absolutely gorgeous. It's got the blue accented enter key. It's got a nice big delete key. It's got the Think Vantage button, which can actually be programmed to do things in both Linux and Windows. I haven't set it to do anything at the moment. We've got the Think Light. Look at that. It doesn't really do it justice in this lighting environment. But yeah, Think Light. Sorry, I forgot to mention between the overview and specifications. So we'll move on to ports in a minute. But mine is the i5 2520M. It came with 4 gigs DDR3, no operating system or hard drive. You can see I'm just reading what's here. Although it did include a hard drive CAD in rubber runners, which was a pleasant surprise. Although the included Windows license underneath the battery was already used, so I couldn't access it. So, but I just I bought a license for it. And what else? So the battery that came with it was completely kaput. They originally sold in 2011 for £850 in the UK, but I got mine on second hand on eBay. So it says less than 2 months ago, but it's about 6 months ago, 8 months ago now. And I got this for £35 with an operating system, a hard drive, and 4 gigs of RAM. And it's like, other than a bit of accumulated dust, like you should see, it's just gorgeous condition. I don't know whether this will do it justice, but like this was done by me. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I had to add a battery to it as well. So I didn't have it didn't have a working battery. It had the 6-cell battery, but I added this 9-cell aftermarket one because it wasn't working. I've popped 2 4 gig DIMMs in there now at 1066, I believe. It's got, we'll look at the ports in a minute. It's also got a 128 gig msata drive under the palm rest instead of the 3G module, because the 3G module is not, there really isn't any use for a 3G module in the UK in 2024. So I whipped that out. I believe it's a 128 gig or 256 gig, can't remember. Let me just log in. So we've got 2 drives basically. So the main drive bay is populated with SATA SSD, which is 128 gig, and then we've got a 256 gig drive with Linux on it, which we'll look at later in the video. What is this? Blah, 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 blah. Right. Let me sort of get back to my notes. I'll just pause. So, right, I just needed a minute to get my thing to work, the OneNote to work. What was I saying? So yeah, it got right, I'll edit that bit out. So, 2 times 4 gig DDR3, 1600 megahertz, actually, I correct myself. It's got 2 SSDs, as mentioned. One is mSATA at 256 gig. And then we've got one 28 gig, so some of these notes are incorrect. I don't know if you're able to read them, but some of them, this is a previous build I did with it. Third party battery. It was basically, yeah, it was perfect condition, and it's £35, and it's like, it was, oh yeah, unbelievable bargain. What else can we go around? Ports. So on the right hand side we have USB 2.0 always on, gigabit, Ethernet, SD card reader, combo microphone, headphone jack, Kensington lock, drive bay. On the left, differing from the i7, which on the i7 you would have a USB 3 port here, but this is two USB 2 ports, display port, VGA, wireless kill switch and express card, which we may tinker with later, depends how we get time to do that. Then around the back we've got CPU vent, power input, big chunky 9-cell battery, third party aftermarket job, which actually does a pretty decent job. We get 2 to 4 hours battery life out of it. Let's just look at that now and see. So we're getting 1.5. Then if we go down to battery saver, so yeah, it's just jumped up to 4, nearly 5 hours on battery saver. And that's obviously just idle at the desktop and with some vague browsing, but we could probably expand that a little bit. This will adapt in a minute. Yeah, nearly 5 hours battery life on this aftermarket battery. I haven't done any firmware mods, I haven't done any BIOS mods, I haven't done anything like that. One of the reasons I got this laptop was basically because I wanted this keyboard on my X230, and if you look back to my old library, I did install that keyboard, but without functional track point buttons. They seem to die on 2 separate keyboards. I attempted to do this mod, and the taping up the things, the process of installing it just failed and it didn't really work. So I had to get one, basically. I really wanted this just lovely keyboard. I did do a live stream, which I'll put in the cards if I remember. And yeah, I don't know. This keyboard is just absolutely legendary. Like, it's just unbelievably ergonomic. It feels nice. The key travel is exquisite. Why is that not doing anything? Okay, it looks like we've got some damage to the microphone mute button. But if I just type up here, for example, hello, my name is TechDave. Okay, this isn't a great example of typing. TechDave and today. But I don't know if you can hear the kind of tactile feedback, because it's a membrane keyboard, but it feels mechanical, and it's a weird combination. I think, like, it's a weird combination of a slight smush when it actuates, so you get a slight squish right at the bottom where, like, you click individually, or then if you hold, it gets like a nice little membraney smush. It's got a fingerprint reader, which I haven't set up because I'm primarily using this on Linux. I'm just on Windows to access my OneNote at the moment, because Windows 10 is bloat, and it's not great for 2011 dual core device. Although, honestly, functionally, like, if you see, it's quite responsive. I've got a bunch of stuff on here, so I've got, like, we'll look more at software in a bit, but, like, it doesn't lag. I don't feel like it's unresponsive, you know. I mean, idling at 20% CPU, 4 gigs of RAM. That's probably because of OneDrive. OneDrive's just checking some crap, as Windows does. But it feels responsive enough, you know, with the SSD, with the 1333. So it was actually 1066 RAM. I just realised you can't see what I'm looking at. 8 gig DDR3, 1333. So it's 1066 RAM. Yeah. You can get this thing to idle pretty low, but we're going to dive into Linux in a minute for the next section. There's my ebook reader. And basically, I've set this up as a writing laptop, primarily because the keyboard's sick, and I wanted my X220, which I'll just show you by comparison for form factor. Sorry, not X220, this is the X220. Right. So, I've got my X200, if I just pan around, This keyboard is god tier on the X220. It's a god tier keyboard, and you can see I'm running Pop OS, not Pop OS, Linux Mint. I used to run Pop OS on it, Linux Mint. I've got Core 2 Duo P8600, 2.4 gigahertz, but it's a dual core, 2 threads. The only RAM I've got that fits it is like 4 gigs, two gig sticks, because it needs like slower RAM. But like, I love this keyboard. I love this keyboard so much. And I will attempted to do a video about this running on Linux, because I'm finding it does actually work better than I thought in recent stuff. But I just want to show you like the combination of wanting more power from the X230 and the keyboard from the X220. It seems like the X200 and the X220 is that compromise point. That flickering is not visible in real life. That is the frame rate that's gone slightly out because we're on battery saver. And that's a bit of waffle. So I've sort of done the preliminary stuff. Then we're going to look at Linux. We're going to look at a bunch of other things to do with using the computer. It's pretty badass. And like, I've got a lot of software installed on Linux Mint, but not as much. So we're probably going to go through some software that I've got installed on there. But that's just a general overview of the hardware. What I'd quite like to do with this is maybe test it with the GTX 750 Ti. Because that's quite a balanced 2GB GPU, and maybe do some gaming. So I'm gonna gather my thoughts and be back in a minute with the next part of the video. So just briefly, I wanted to show the smorgasbord of ThinkPads in this form factor. So they're all 12-inch. I've also got the X280, but I featured that in my most recent video, which is now over 10,000 views. Thanks for watching that. I'll definitely make more content about that in the future. It's not to hand to be able to show you, but what I wanted to point out was the keyboards. So this does not have a trackpad. That is actually a plus for me, because I quite often disable the trackpad. I haven't on either of these, but I quite often tend to do so. Let's just draw the X200 into focus briefly. Sorry about my shoddy camera work. So, we've got fingerprint reader, LUSH keyboard that is just incomparably beautiful. Fingerprint reader, yeah, I said fingerprint reader. Same sort of deal with the Think Light as well. They've all got Think Lights. But you can see this keyboard, so it's got like these little divots here for using the, and they also function as media buttons. The little divots are there for your fingers, and then that was preserved onto the X220, which you can see why people graft these into them, because it's a bit more refined. You can see that the X200's a bit blocky, and there's like gaps in between the keys. It's a beautiful typing experience, but it's slightly. If I go over here and just type hello, my name is TechDave, and today you can see that I'm very comfortable with that typing experience. It sits quite nicely, and if we open up a Word document on here, do the same thing. Or whatever, just a blank document, just get on with it. I've been doing, no, I don't want a tour, just make the file. Right, hello, my name is TechDave, and today, so it's slightly more spread out. My hands are nicely adjusted to this, but then this over here, so obviously I can't log into the system because it doesn't have a drive at the moment, so I whipped it out for something else. But if I just type hello, my name is TechDave, and today, I'm also very comfortable on this. But in a previous video, when I put this keyboard on here, I found that my typing speed increased from about 35 words per minute to nearly 50 or something like that. I can't remember exactly, you have to look through the video. But I had a significant uptick in speed from this keyboard because these, whilst functional, are chiclet keys. And they don't have that raised keycap that makes the typing on this have much more feedback, tactile feedback. And again here, look, really decent tactile feedback, and it sounds good. It's like, it's not too much thock, but there's definitely a decent thock to it for a non-mechanical keyboard. And I just wanted to just show that, like, because I've got this set up for writing, for example, still working on that novel. What have we got? So have I got any actual story yet? There's one of my stories, which do F11. Does that work on Word? I don't know. But yeah, I started writing a little novel, which I got quite far through. It's quite dark. It's about Anathasios Thanatos. Yeah, so that's just a thing that I'm working on. So what was my point? No, I don't want to save that, go away. My point was that this is, oh, we got up to 7 hours. So nearly 7 hours battery life on this. 6 hours, 56 minutes at 90% whilst typing, which, considering that's what I want to do with the laptop, it's for writing and media consumption. That's spot on. Now I need to bang an SSD in there at some point. But yeah, I just wanted to give like a side-by-side comparison of the three laptops and show why this one for typing, for like, if you think about the weight as well, like the, so the X200 is extremely light. It's next to nothing. It's got some heft to it because it's older technology. The X230, again, extremely light, but it doesn't have that tactile keyboard. The X220 feels slightly heavier in the hands, but also like really robust, and the keyboard makes that compromise worth it. So I can't remember what else I was going to look into, but I just wanted to show you that, you know, they're all the same form factor, they're all thin and light, they're all running dual cores. These are thankfully quad core with, well, hyper threading, so they've got 4 cores. But I just wanted to do a side-by-side comparison of the keyboard and explain why this is the sweet spot, and probably justify to a lot of you that already are massive fanboys of this laptop, quite understandably, why the typing experience is optimized through these generations, and the sweet spot for me is right here. So, next section of the video. So, we've moved out now to a little desk setup, which I quite like. Now, it could potentially connect to this USB Behringer sound card and the sound system and my piano and various other things. But for now, we're just using it docked. So I'm using the Ultrabase 3, which is sweet as hell. It's got a 500 gig hard drive in drive bay caddy. Let me see if I can show you that properly. Let's turn that out a bit. 500 gig hard drive. I don't have the front cover that matches this, so I just left it without the blank on it. It's Kensington lock. You can eject the drive here. It's got a power button on the front, which allows you to turn it on or off. Basically, wake the laptop up when it's with the lid closed. You've got a deactivate button, which is next to that red LED, and then that ejects it. But yeah, your display port there. We've got dedicated headphone and mic separate jacks. I've got my Logitech dongle and my keyboard dongle, the VGA, and 4 USB ports. So that's just, wanted to briefly show you that. The other thing that was cool, I remembered why that wasn't working, so I enabled hotkeys using drivers. There's a driver, as you can see on the screen. It's now doing the on-screen display for Windows stuff. That's from Logitech. But yeah, I installed some hotkeys drivers from Lenovo's website, which is still available. You can get 90% of the drivers from Lenovo still for this device for Windows 10. Some of them are older Windows 8 ones, but I've got my McGeegy mechanical keyboard and my slowly degrading but quite lovely mouse mat that I need to replace at some point. Got my Logitech MX Master 2S and all my vitamins and gubbins and generic supply of stuff, and a nice 43-inch TV, which it drives perfectly. I've set in power options so that when I close the lid, nothing happens, so nothing should happen. slight adjustment of resolution, but yeah. So this is how I am going to be using this moving forward for today. Now, I've looked back through the footage. I wanted to keep this as brief as possible, and I realised I've already made quite a bit of footage. So I think probably at this stage what I'm going to do is, can you leave comments about what you might like to know about this device in any future video, because I just needed to get some content out just for my sanity. So if there's other things you'd like to see, so like a Linux performance, which I really assure you is gold dust, and like really low resource, because I'm using Linux Mint but with i3 window manager. It's not gaps, it's just i3. And then I've got an eGPU that I can use with it. So again, vote GTX 750 Ti or GT 710 2GB. They're the options. 720 2GB. So there's roughly 2 gig cards available. We could do some gaming and stuff in a part 2. But I just wanted to do a brief overview of the performance, not performance because we didn't cover that, the specifications and what the laptop looks like. If I have the oomph and energy to continue working on it, I might continue this part 2 from here. But for now, I'm just going to ask you to like, subscribe, share the video, and anyone might find interesting. Thank you so much for your continued support, and yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.